This is the gospel according to the IRS, Breaking Points and Church Financial Updates. And now, here's the authority, Dr. Michael Chitwood and Breaking Points.
This is Michael Chitwood. Welcome to Breaking Points. I hope that you've had a wonderful week so far. I believe that everything good is happening to you and to your ministry. I know this, the Lord wants to bless you more and more in this year that we're in. And I believe that the blessings of God can be and will be upon your ministry, upon your family, and upon your church family. But I also believe this, that a house that's out of order may not be the best ground to sow that extra seed in. I believe that's why that it's been proven that most members that attend a church give to 8 different charities, television ministries, and other functions across America. I don't know why that is. I give most of my tithes and offerings to my church. I do support my other ministries that's in my church, accounting and legal and the firm that we have. But the main point is this, is that we must teach our members more about this. I have a book called Handbook of Charitable Financial Giving. I'd like for you to get that if you could. If you want that, just go online at cmtc.org. Grab your pad and pen and let's get cranked up today. I'm glad you're here today. We have a lot of information. I've given you 6 things on how to protect your contributors. I've given you 6 of those. I'd like to review all 6 of them with you. Check your notes from yesterday's session. Number 1, an established legal existence. Number 2, a recognized set of beliefs and form of worship. Number 3, a form of ecclesiastical government and or organization. Number 4, a written code of doctrine. Number 5, a religious history. Number 6, membership distinct and different from other churches and other denominations. Number 7, ordained ministers with a congregation. Ordained ministers with a congregation. Now please note there that the word ordained, licensed, commissioned, or an exhorter are all the same terms for meanings of Section 107. Number 8, ordained ministers who have completed a course of study. Let me say something to you here. I don't know if you've seen or if you're even using the official examination that's required by our organization before you ordain anybody. As an ordained church, as a church that's ordained 501c3, you may and can ordained, licensed, commissioned, exhorter, ministers of the gospel. But that 500 official examination, ladies and gentlemen, gives you a tremendous amount of protection for your church. These days, people you don't know for sure should be ordained. A lot of people can still buy their ordination through mail houses for certain fees and pay annual fees. What I recommend to you is not that. I recommend that you take the official examination and keep that examination and make sure that you're making each person that applies to your independent church for organization, denomination, or ordination completes this examination. So number 8, ordained ministers who have completed a prescribed course of study. Number 9, a church that has its own message written in form. Number 10, a regular place of worship. You have to have a regular place of worship. That doesn't mean that it can't be something other than a church building. It can be a place in a mall maybe, or an office complex. In some cases, your church could be beginning your home. Some of you out there may want to have a church in your home. If God is calling you to a church in your home, you need to first of all make sure that you sit down with your pastor, discuss it with your pastor, and come under his spiritual authority and his spiritual covering. The worst thing you can do is to try to break off from your church or his church or God's church, split the church, go 2 blocks down the street, open up your own church. You will not have the blessings of God upon your church or your life. So number 10 is you have to have a regular place of worship. A regular place of worship. Number 11, a congregation that attends services over a consistent period of time. A congregation that attends church over a consistent period of time. So as we look at this today, what we want to make sure is these last 3 components are very sure that you're able to meet the test. Number 12, a regular scheduled service of religious services. A regular scheduled service of religious services. Number 13, Sunday school for the young would qualify you for this 501c3 protection contributions. And number 14, schools to educate future ministers. Now, the commissioner wrote this. He wrote that any church meeting most, if not all of these guidelines, should be legally considered a church. So what I'm trying to do is tell you this in this session for Breaking Points. That if you want to protect your members' contributions that they give to your church, and non-members, by the way, then it's up to you to make sure that you're meeting these 14 components. If they qualify, remember what he wrote. Any church meeting most of these, not all, but most of these guidelines, should be considered a legally church, and a number of the courts have established that a church consists at the very least of a regular congregation of worshipers. So today, the point that we're discussing with you on Breaking Points is to make sure that you have every component in place that deals with how to protect your contributions. Now, quick story. You understand that one church member was audited by the Internal Revenue Service. After they went in for their audit, the IRS told them that they were not in Publication 78 and they were going to disallow all of their charitable contributions. Now, that's not good news for a member that's given $41,000 to their church thinking that their contributions are tax deductible. So what do you think happened? A big war broke out between the member that gave the money, the IRS disallowed it, and the church. And guess when it all came down to it, what they said? They said, well, the board. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of everybody blaming everything on the board. We know what board members know about this subject, and it's what? Nothing. They know nothing about this subject, respectfully speaking. Therefore, a big lawsuit broke out. And guess who was the financial gainers on this subject? The attorneys for both sides. Over $80,000 in attorney fees were spent, about half by the church, about half by the member. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you this day that that was totally unnecessary. It should not have happened, and it should not happen to you. I want you to get your house of worship in order today, because God cannot and will not bless a mess. Until next time, this is Michael Chitwood saying I will see you on Breaking Points.
Breaking Points gives you the latest IRS updates and tax law. Pastor, if the IRS came to your church today, what would you say? If you really want your house of worship in order, call 1-800-345-9117.